So nearby, Brad and Nisha, what is your favourite Pokemon sound?
Maybe that's a Pokemon sound.
It could be. It's that's Snorlax, right?
I don't even know what noise he makes.
Where's all those dumb ones?
I'm trying to think
like
now.
Star, you like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
When you said favourite Pokemon, my mind just went to Eevee straight away.
Eevee's got a good noise.
So I was like, it's like something like Eva.
Yeah, there's a few good ones.
Eva, that's Wally.
Thing is though, I know what Luke's gonna be though. Like Diglett dig, Diglett dig,
Trio.
Diglett dig, Diglett dig, trio. At the time of writing this article, there were approximately 450,000 Pokemon available. And the thing is, I looked up the real number, and it's like nearly 1,000, and I'm like, fuck this.
That caught me so off guard.
It's not writing the real number. And most of them are next to useless from a competitive standpoint for reasons we'll get to in a moment. This isn't to say those Pokemon aren't good or somebody's favourite, it's just that if you want to, get your ash on and be the best there ever was, you probably wouldn't pick them. However, there's only one Pokemon I'm aware of that you can't pick, not because it's overpowered, but because it's racist. And this is a really funny story, but I first need to dip my balls into the Arbok's nest that is competitive Pokemon.
Oh, should we just go outside while you do this bit?
Because if Lucas was here, me and him could talk about this all day, but it's good that you're here because you guys are casual fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you know anything about competitive Pokemon?
Not really.
I know that it makes me fall asleep when people go into like RVs or IVs or whatever.
Yes, so, to put it simply, not all Pokemon are created equal. And even Pokemon within the same species can have dramatically different stats.
Really?
Oh god, yeah.
Something I didn't know.
You've got to breed them to get the highest abilities, and then...
To put it very simply, some Pokemon are literally born different. And there are two in-game bits of data that affect this: EVs, which stands for effort values, and IVs. So the simplest way to explain EVs is that every Pokemon you defeat will give you between 1 or 3, and they correlate to an in-game stats like HP, attack, defense, special defense, all that good stuff. And you can get a certain amount in every single stat. So it's possible to get things like 250 in each stat last time I checked. Don't quote me on this, it's been a while since I competitively bred Pokemon. But, the short version of that is that if you know what you're doing, you can make that Pokemon have dramatically higher stats in that one regard, simply by training against the right kind of Pokemon.
Oh, this sounds so fun.
Well, the running gag is that Pokemon, ultimately, is just math. And that's what starts to be fun.
Hate math.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then, that's why I'm trying to go through this as quickly as possible. And then IVs are a stat that is individual to each Pokemon and cannot be changed. And for the nerds who are going to be like, no, you can change it. Okay, you can change it, but only if you hyper train your Pokemon, which involves getting it to level 100 or in the newest game, level 50, and use a certain item. But doing that takes more time than it would do just to get whatever shit tier Pokemon you have and then make it breed with a Ditto that has perfect IVs and you get a genetically perfect offspring.
This feels like too much effort.
It really, really is. But the difference can be dramatic, and it can result in two Pokemon that ostensibly look exactly the same. So they can have same type, same level, same moves, but one will just have higher stats. It will just be on paper objectively numerically better.
I think that one of the things with Pokemon is I've played a bit of I played Shield and I played a bit of Violet when it came out, and I just feel it's really repetitive, and it's the same thing with that. It's just
if you want to get repetitive, you want to go try training your Pokemon to get the right EVs. When you're you have to note down on a pad and pencil. Okay, I need to beat 63 Magikarps to end up with this speed stat, which will allow me to outspeed this rival Pokemon at this level. Using this move.
I don't have enough time in my hands to do all that sort of thing. Come on.
And if Lucas was here, me and him would be like, because me and him have bred hundreds of competitive Pokemon. hundreds.
So I was obsessed with Pokemon when I was younger, the first gen, and then briefly when the second gen came out, and then I just kind of
Dropped off,
and then I've slowly got back into it, but not as obsessively, because I had literally Pokemon everything. Yeah. I had a Pokedex, I had like this Pokeball game, I had a giant?
That sounds like a Pokemon. Giant.
I was going to say giant and gigantic at the same time. Gigantic Meowth, like just sit at the end of my bed. And because I had one of those.
Well, speaking of Pokemon, I've got my Wiggler.
Oh, no, not the Wiggler.
I knew the Wiggler was coming.
Oh god, no! Got like a mat on the floor to stop my my chair from scraping on the floor. I've got my Wiggler
I
up.
was going to find you
Wiglet wig.
Trio.
Wig.
We go.
Wug trio.
That was weird.
And that means, Nisha, you're not aware of how broken Gen 1 is, are you?
Not really, no.
So Generation 1 of Pokemon is infamous for how broken it is, like, at the seams. And I think the easiest way to sum this up is that there's a move called Focus Energy. And Focus Energy, in every Pokemon game except Generation 1, is supposed to increase your critical hit rate.
Yep.
In Gen 1, using Focus Energy sets your critical hit ratio to 0. It does the literal exact opposite of what the game description tells you.
Why?
Because they programmed it wrong. There's also something called the Gen 1 miss. Yeah, there's also the Gen 1 miss, which is in Generation 1, every move, regardless of accuracy, has a 1 in 256 chance of just missing for no reason. If you ask why, the answer is because it's fucking like it's held together with duct tape and dreams.
I mean, I don't mind that one because the element of random chance always does make things more interesting.
Yeah, but there's so much like, and then obviously there's like sort of Missing Now, like the surfing glitch on Cinnabar, right? Like it's just nightmare. But the important thing to note about this is that not every Pokemon is created equal, and some are just not worthwhile competitive, either because they do not have stats that are high enough, or they do not have a move pool that's versatile enough, or because there's so fucking many Pokemon, it's just redundant.
Is the one that seems like it should be good and just isn't?
There's a couple, I think.
Like a legendary.
In the most recent gen, like Tyranitar, which has been like amazing, like since introduction, is basically useless in the current gen at like the highest level, because it is just outpaced and like outperformed by everything else that exists.
My main experience with all this at the moment is with Pokemon Go. And with that, you catch a Pokemon, you just check the stats, and if it's 100%, then you can buff it up.
And I'm not too into Pokemon Go, but I do know that Pokemon Go is like just basically another tool like competitive Pokemon players use to get good Pokemon. And we had one more recently with Pokemon Sleep. Pokemon Sleep came out, you can get shinies in Pokemon Sleep, and there are people like hacking into their phones to figure out how to like shiny hunt in there. So like, people get obsessed. It's Pokemon.
It would be so good if it was like, in order to get this shiny 100% IV Pokemon,
you gotta have a good night's sleep.
No, but you gotta go and sleep on top of a building in a certain country for a certain length of time, wearing certain clothes, have to have eaten a certain meal.
You've got to sleep in a haunted location.
Are you guys trying to be funny? Your routine really isn't working for me.
I always said that about like Pokemon Go, of like when they released Mewtwo, put it in Area 51. I don't know why they didn't, but the important thing to note about all of this is that just some Pokemon just aren't worth using. Like something like, the one that I shit on, I think if Lucas was here, he'd agree with me, is Finneon.
You shit on Finneon.
Look at Finneon. Which is just a fish.
It's just a fish.
It's a fish, but it's just a basic water type with middling stats. And there are literally nearly 100 Pokemon that can do everything Finneon could, but better.
Can it look as cute though?
Well, yeah, because you've got like Marrels including last.
There's just so many Pokemon, they run out of ideas. It's like with the designs, some of them are just...
Yeah, and everyone always says that, and I think, well, think about to Gen 1, rock with arms and some eggs.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember, a pretty Pokemon is a strong Pokemon.
Oh, what's it called? Is it Rock and Roll or something like that?
It's a rock. But then again,
But
what's a Geodude, Nisha?
Yeah, but it looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like.
Okay.
But it looks like some sort of body part.
Okay, use your imagination of what Nisha thinks Rock and Roller looks like. But this has resulted in fans of the game and the series creating a tier list, which of course they argue about incessantly because it's Pokemon, gaming and the internet, but out of sheer necessity, because without it, what you get is officially licensed and sponsored Pokemon tournaments, which are just dominated by the same 12 Pokemon. And that might sound like hyperbole given there are like 900 Pokemon. Here is just a tier, like, the top 8 teams for a recent like Pokemon tournament a couple of years ago. You'll notice that literally every person there except one is using the exact same team in near enough the exact same order. And I'm sure because Lucas is editing this one, he'll have a field day tracking down similar such examples of the diversity present in like high-level competitive Pokemon. Because the Pokemon Company doesn't enforce any sort of real tier list besides you can only be like one mythical Pokemon. And because of that, like all the officially sponsored Pokemon tournaments are dominated by the same 12 Pokemon.
This is an issue with a lot of those kind of games, though. I know Overwatch has an issue with this as well, where all of the world games or whatever they are, like they're always mirror matches because people figure out the meta and then just use the meta.
And that's why stuff like a tier list is like, I think and fans have gotten like got overused, Ubers, like underused, rarely used, that sort of thing. And that, as much as I really dislike that element of the competitive Pokemon community because of how like pedantic they can be, when you look at the alternative, which is just the grand finals, is just the same 6 Pokemon on both sides using the exact same tactic.
And a game you've already seen 10 times before.
Like, you can see why you need something like that to just introduce some element of competitive balance and, diversity. But with all that in mind, there is one Pokemon that has been banned by the Pokemon Company, not for being overpowered, but for being racist. And that Pokemon is Chatot. And Nisha, look at that Pokemon. Do you think Chatot looks racist? You're wrong, he is. Chatot is super racist and sexist.
It's got a musical note.
I'd say it's a musical note ahead, isn't it?
But it's super racist and sexist and homophobic. So I want to give you a few details now about Chatot and see if you can piece them together and guess why Chatot is racist. So Chatot is a Pokemon that's based on a parrot, but it can talk. So parrot, Chatot. It debuted in a game which was on the Nintendo DS. It has a move called Chatter, which utilizes a gimmick of the Nintendo DS.
I'm going to guess that whilst using the move, you could speak into your microphone.
Nisha, that sounds a guess.
I'm completely lost.
It's not that the Pokemon's racist, it's that the Pokemon had an ability to let people be racist.
Yeah, so...
right, that's what I was like, I don't understand.
So Chatot's signature move was Chatter, which did a set amount of damage and had a 1% chance to confuse your opponent. However, it took advantage of the Nintendo DS's microphone system. And the gimmick was, if you used Chatter in the overworld while it was being used, the louder you spoke into the microphone, the higher the chance that move would confuse. And the thinking was, well, little kids, when they catch one and it uses this move, they'll say, oh, it's Chatot. And then when you send it out and use this move, it'll repeat what you're saying back to it, like a parrot would. But we're talking about Pokemon players here, who we've already established will min-max the fuck out of anything. What do you think they did when they got hands on this move?
I assume scream whatever slur came to mind.
Well, no, just scream as loud as possible. But also, gamers got their hands on this move, so what do you think they did?
The aforementioned thing I just
they
said.
screamed as loud as they could, but this time they chose their choice racial. They got their PewDiePie on and screamed their favourite racial slur out loud.
Oh, no.
And the thing is that once you've done this, that move would now, every time you use it in a battle, play whatever sound clip it happened to capture.
Oh, no.
Why, in that case, why ban the Pokemon and not just get rid of that feature of the move?
Because it was hardwired into the Pokemon.
Oh.
And there are stories out there that are funny in that way of, you can't believe that, the Pokemon Company was so naive of, people were wonder trading Chatots that scream racial slurs when you got them. So you wonder trade, people don't know, it's like you trade a random Pokemon for a random Pokemon. People would go on with an entire, box full of Chatots they train to use racial slurs.
Oh, no.
And wonder trade to little kids on Christmas Day who go, oh, I've got a new Chatot. And Joe, instead of the Pokemon cry, it makes the noise.
Oh, no.
So you get, oh, it's a Chatot, and you just scream a racial slur at you.
Oh.
And obviously,
That's awful.
It would extend to things that weren't just racial slurs.
Of course, yeah, that's
It'd be like...
Yeah, anything you wanted to scream in that brief, 2-3 seconds while it was recording, would be recorded and played back. And the thing is, well, remember, it gets played in your opponent's DS. So you could go online with this thing and use this move, and it would scream from their DS your whatever slur or insult you happen to want to have your Chatot scream.
And just imagine it on Christmas Day when kids get this and they, in front of the parents, and you're just hearing these racial slurs being screamed, It's not me.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
get a
me.
chat. Oh, someone sent me a new Pokemon. It's a parrot. I wonder what its cry is. Fuck you.
How naive of them to think that it wouldn't be used in not even slurs of words, just to insult people.
No,
or
it's
to
more
say dirty words.
The thing is, more the fact that they thought the gimmick of just the louder you scream into the microphone, the more powerful the move is. Like the more utility and use it has in a battle. They didn't expect people to just scream as loud as possible directly into the microphone, and then every time you use that move, that sound clip is played back to you at max volume.
Was this Pokemon ever meta, or was it just banned?
No, it's shit. That's the thing. That's why it's so funny. Of the most broken OP Pokemon in the game never got banned from online by Pokemon themselves. This Pokemon did because it was racist.
Pokemon wasn't racist itself. It was.
People trained it to. But the thing is,
she's getting offended.
on behalf of Chatot.
Yeah, the poor bird did nothing wrong. It's just everyone else.
This is the guy who taught his dog to do the Nazi salute in Pokemon.
Yeah, but just the idea though that someone trained their Pokemon to scream racial slurs and then sent it out into the world, and the fact that then it got banned.
What would you have yours say?
I just subscribe to Fact Fiend.
Maybe it's vampire. Maybe it's vampire.
Just he just arrives like, I got a chat at what's it saying? It's like, subscribe to Fact Fiend, subscribe to Fact Fiend. It's like, hell yeah.
Just promote,
Come on, Wiglet.
just promo.
What's like when you I have Wonder Traded once, and some guy had just sent all his Pokemon with his Twitch name. So I made sure to go onto Twitch and ban his Twitch name from appearing in my Twitch chat. Just out of sheer, just the insult. Like, fuck you, don't do that. It did come back, if anyone wondering, it did come back in later gens. Because they stopped it from using that move.
Yeah, I should hope so.
Are you saying, Brad, are you saying that you're not allowed to scream racial slurs online? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that using racial slurs should prevent you from going online and interacting with other people?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Imagine if they left the feature in, but somebody was hired to check everyone, and every time someone recorded one, they got a sound clip through, and they just sat there listening to this drivel ticking yes or no.
That's like when they had a feature in one of the Burnout games where when you crashed into someone, if they had like their Xbox Connect plugged in, it took a picture of their face. Because the idea was like, you get their face when they get defeated. So all people did is they plugged their Connect and just shine it directly at their balls. So I mean, you take someone out and you get a picture of their face as they're like, on paper it sounds like a great idea. Like, you'd be like, oh no, and you get to see a picture of them being pissed off.
Yeah.
But what you'd get is just a picture of some guy's balls, or just a really dirty apartment from someone who didn't know that would happen when they did that.
Burnout, more like ball out.
Well, it's like I've got a PS5 now. I've got a PS5 controller. Do you know what
Why show the control?
No, because do you know what this has built into it?
Is it a microphone?
It has a microphone and a speaker. But by default, the PS5's microphone is on all of the time when you're playing online multiplayer games. And the idea, again, the idea there is that you can just use it instead of a headset. What do you think you hear when you're playing Call of Duty? Because it's a lot of people masturbating. Yeah. Content creator who broke this down of like, it's okay. So here's how you avoid getting cancelled online. So you start with your hard RM word. Get it out of your system now so you don't screw it on stream. Then deep nut. It's the only. Then you gotta go beat your wife. Because don't forget, there's multiple Twitch streamers who beat their wife live on stream. Then you gotta go abuse like your pet or animal, because people have done that. Well, that's the thing. Like, and people might think this is really stupid. Why are you saying like there are multiple examples of all four of these things happening with Twitch streamers who are currently still famous and making money and sponsored.
Fuck's sake.
Did I not forget? I think me and Luke were watching Twitch once. No, it was the Game Awards. And they had like an advert for something like, here are our official Twitch partners. And just as a joke, while they were on, everyone who popped up of like an affiliate to that brand, I googled their name, followed by N-word, and every single one had said it.
No.
And they were all sponsored by a brand.
It's not that hard to not say it.
It is, Brad. What about if you really need to say it though?
But you don't.
What about if you really need to? And the thing is though, what about if you really need to? On camera in front of millions of children.
If you're really, really famous, you get away with it.
Yeah.
Clearly.
The thing is because it's so dumb, because when you say it sounds like you're making it up, and then you think like, no, that's actually super real.
Yeah, it's just those things which is like, it is just so stupid. Like, people can't resist saying a word that they shouldn't say. Don't say it. It's easy.
You're just being shit.
Don't do it.
Well, how
Don't
about
be
instead
shit.
I scream it out as loud as I can and then become a millionaire?
Have our own conversation.
You know what? Cut all this out. 'Cause you know what annoys me the most? That us talking about this will piss people off more than the people doing it.
Yeah.
That's always the way. It's like people will be more pissed off that we mention this stuff than if we did it.
It just
Are we
seems so
leaving this in?
broken.
I don't know. I don't care.
I guess Lucas gets it. Just having a nice drink. You sat there with your Wiggler. We're talking about Pokemon.
Ah, that looks like a Clefairy.
It's so cute.
Look at that. Cal got his Wiggler out live on camera. What an idiot.
Exactly, it's gonna go and
Oh, he's gonna just
stroke,
stream
he's
and
gonna
play with his Wiggler.
stroke it.
That's what we should do. You should end the video where we say, "All right, we'll bye everyone," and then roll away and just play with the Wiggler.
But I can't believe Cal whipped out his Wiggler live on cam. Oh, cheers everybody. I am legit wondering how we're going to even edit that one. Because that's the thing I said. People will get more pissed off that we mentioned that these people were racist, sexist, homophobic, abuse their spouses and or pets than they are it actually happening.
I think it shows how desensitized I am to it, that when you mention people beat their pets, that's the one I reacted to.
It's the one that you're not familiar with.
Yeah, because all the others I'm like, oh, obviously people have done that. There's loads of little weirdo dickheads online who say shit. But like, with someone beating their pet, obviously they're all bad.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the
it's
thing,
all
yeah,
disgusting.
you feel so strange that you have to clarify of like, this is bad, and we're only laughing because it's so absurd.
Yeah.
Cheers everybody.